Way, so without any further ado, let's get to it.
So the main thing that I have to see is how they're going to deal with EN's rotation. So BVD, you're going to have to decide very early on if you have to decide if you're banning Night Stalker or Spirit Breaker, because banning both usually results in Earthshaker going through. So that's a decision they have to make, especially because eNergy eSports have first pick, and Chelsea is not going to be scared of picking up his offlane hero in the first 1-2.
Oh, you're going to have the likes of the LC, the Darkseer, the Axe. You know, you can play any of those really well.
Do you think either team might go for a cheese strat here?
I don't think so. Not with these teams
that generally go for cheese strats.
I don't think so. I think they're going to pick very aggressive lineups for sure. They're both pretty aggressive teams. They like to make plays, and you know, RDK especially, he likes to play those farming heroes, but farming heroes that can fight early as well if it needs to.
They might go cheese though. Like I'm looking at these BVD bans, banning out Clockwork and IO, right? So they're trying to remove any positional advantage from eNergy eSports. They could be trying to actually go for a strat which just allows them to like barrel down mid in the game in 20 minutes.
Yeah, but that's what I mean by an aggressive lineup. But like an unconventional cheese lineup, I don't think so.
Yeah,
I think you're going to see the standard like good meta picks like a Spirit Breaker. Here we go, Darkseer. It's just like it's kind of predictable with these teams. So they do what works.
Yeah,
they're experienced enough to know what works and what doesn't.
What I really like about the Darkseer pick coming out very early is as soon as they respond to the Spirit Breaker, they understand that eNergy is going to be rotating a lot. Yeah. So likely we'll see Habibi moving around on that Spirit Breaker. So it means that you can have a little bit of easier access to your lane as Darkseer. You're not going to be as afraid of dying. Yeah. You just like spam out the wave with Iron Shell. And they have the Kunkka, so they're also going for their own roam in the early game. I think this is going to be Filthy Frank's hero, right?
Yeah. For me, Kunkka, in a lot of ways, has way more impact in the early game than a Spirit Breaker, just because he can do more on the map and he scales better late game.
Definitely does. Also, have a BKB piercing disable, which is always very nice.
We saw a serious lack of BKB penetrating stuns in the previous game. With Juggernaut constantly just TPing out of danger. It was cheeky as hell, but damn, did it work.
But it definitely worked. Yeah. Both games, in fact, we saw Juggernauts going off with spin TPs all the way around. And eNergy, wow, okay, so they get both Spirit Breaker and Earthshaker. Bravado didn't ban either. They banned Night Stalker themselves. This is really risky for BVD because these are heroes that eNergy have been practicing a lot and been winning with a lot. Yeah. So I'm kind of surprised that they let both go through, especially because they picked Kunkka, so they wanted to have the team fight advantage, but you can't really have that versus the Earthshaker.
Yeah. You know, I also wanted to say I wanted to see an Odu Ricky once again because the last time I saw an Odu Ricky was back at Rage 2016 and he was a monster on that thing, but with this lineup I don't think we're going to see it, unfortunately.
Probably not. Wow, they're blazing through the draft. Look at what BVD went for. Venomonster Warlock. This is so disgusting, actually. Like, you drop Fatal Bonds into the Venomonster Ultimate, it's pretty nasty. Especially because right now, eNergy doesn't have very high range support heroes, and Gyrocopter is not the type of hero that normally builds the Hurricane Pike anyway, or the Dragonlance. So you can actually get caught out in a really bad position, especially with like Darkseer TPs in or blinks in with the Vacuum Wall.
Now the Fatal Bonds attached to obviously the Venomonster ulti is just, it's not fun. It's not a good time at all. But do we see this guy go mid or do we see him go in the offlane, classic offlane Veno that we've been seeing a lot these days actually?
I think there's probably safe lane Veno.
Going to be safe lane Veno.
Yeah, most of the times that I've been seeing this hero, it goes safe lane now. So I don't think it does that much in the mid lane, but if you're in the safe lane, like a hero like Earthshaker can't really get anything out of that lane unless he forced to use the fissure to just pull creeps the entire time. He can't really do anything else with this against this Venom.
With the limited mana pool.
Limited mana pool, yeah.
He's gonna have to buy like 3 clarities or something to go to the lane.
I feel like he could do well mid as well, because if you get those high-level Plague Wards up pretty damn fast, it's a lot better, especially for anti-push and for pushing, and it stops the blink daggers, like the Earthshaker, that type of thing. So high-level Plague Wards for me is, you know, to get those up to level 4 as fast as possible.
Let's talk about the significance of the Silencer relative to the Darkseer. Darkseer is usually responsible for clutch plays, if I'm not mistaken. Does the Silencer throw a serious wrench in the works here?
It's mostly about like screwing with his laning phase, because now, as soon as you see him drop down the Iron Shell, you immediately drop, you lost word more your Arcane Curse, and there's nothing you can do. He has to like back out of lane, loses way too much mana in the process. So this is really rough for the Darkseer actually, because I think Bravado was expecting an easier lane for him now that Spirit Breaker will be moving around. So
Darkseer, of course, enjoying one of the higher pick rates.
Yes.
Not exactly one of the higher win rates, ironically.
Oh, well, he got nerfed recently as well in the in the patch that just came, and we thought, okay, there's no way we're seeing Darkseer as much as we used to, and lo and behold, people still pick him. So it's still very viable. I mean, his skill set is just too good not to pass up. But what I am surprised not to see against it, so much Darkseer picking is an Oracle. I know he's not as good as he used to be, but Oracle's so good against the likes of Darkseer, and we never see him.
Now that you mention Oracle, I'm thinking of Roots. How good would Queen of Pain be for eNergy right now? Because they have basically no disables on the side of Bravado. Like this, I think you can get away with these type of heroes that need to be stunned. So Queen of Pain, Storm. You could even pick Lina right now.
I think Hook is a concern for a Queen of Pain on the side of eNergy.
You can just buy like
Lincolns. You can get Yules, Lincolns. You can evade that pretty easily.
And it's like the only disable they have, and they still have the global silence as well. If they can see, definitely is going to get pulled back. You global just before you get back, and you just won't die.
You use them as a counter initiation.
And I mean, think of how fast Queen of Pain would be able to deal with a Venom as well.
This is Sniper. Oh my gosh, Sniper. All right, so. Sniper mid. This is really concerning. Oh, you're right. It's going to be Venom onto mid. RDK morphling in the safe lane.
We're in for a treat, ladies and gentlemen. It's
signature hero. Yeah.
Signature hero in an all classical matchup, and you have the chosen one Sniper. This is like, what more could you ask for? eNergy versus Bravado with all their best heroes.
It's crushing. It's absolutely crushing. And like you were saying, that man manages to find farm
anywhere
from thin air.
But it's not just that, like, this is a classic RDK hero. It's a hero that farms efficiently, it splits push efficiently, and it can fight early as well. It's got decent nuke, decent damage. So, I mean, he only really needs 2 items to get into the fight.
Of course.
That's it.
Well, there you have it. A classic with a classic lineup and a classic set of casters for you. They're ready for us. Let's head over to the game.
Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and Dota players around the world. We are here, BVD versus eNergy, an amazing draft and quite hectic what the panel had to say. Scarpy, RDK, the best player to never matter, gets his morphling.
Harsh words, but I like it. He gets his morphling there. We spoke about this on the plane flight here, right? I was like, they're going to pick morphling, and everyone's like, oh, morphling. This is not good. I'm like, they're going to just pick it for RDK. They're going to, because he wins with that hero. He just wins games with that hero. So I'm so glad to see it. I'm really glad to see it.
Well, ladies and gents, like the panel said, Ian, BVD, Ian got the likes of Habibi, Odu, the best support team in the previous BVD, now playing against their former MGO. It's going to be an absolutely cracker of a game. But before the game gets underway, let's go around and do the introductions for the team. On the side of the Radiant, we have got Mr. Habibi going to be playing the Spirit Breaker. We've got on the Gyrocopter, Strike actually moved into the core position. Odu going to be playing the Silencer. In our mid lane, we've got C1 playing our Sniper. Oh, the Shrapnel are going to be an absolute devastation to the side of BVD. And last but not least, it is going to be Chelsea playing the Earthshaker.
Yeah, and going over to the Dire side, RDK on his infamous Morphling and taking that into the safe lane. Impact going to be backing him up in that lane. More than likely, Frank going to be looking to make those movements around the map that he's notorious for. Mikasa going into the mid lane with the Venom. Very interesting matchup here. I do want to see how this outcome is going to turn out for him. And going into the off lane, last but not least, 225 playing over on that Darkseer.
Well, that rounds it up for probably one of the most interesting games of the day, BVD versus eNergy. But a little bit of a sneaky play. Frank hiding behind the tier 1, trying to see what he can actually find out. Is the chicken coming up? And not just yet. Chosen one waiting to actually bring that career out. Got a lot of items locked and loaded. But Frank going to get himself back into lane and just try and get that XP up just a little bit.
Well, if there's a group of people that know what Frank shenanigans is these guys, I mean, Frank was last in their team just a couple of months ago. So they definitely know what kind of shenanigans he does.
2-5 may actually go down. Yeah, he does. Ian Striker getting the first blood for his team, surrounded by 3 of the eNergy players. And pretty simple takedown. Got blocked out by the creeps just a little bit. And the Iron Shell not getting enough work done.
Yeah. Nice pick off there. That's a nice skillful strike. I mean, Gyrocopter doesn't always have a fantastic laning stage, and 225 can keep a lot of pressure here. I think he's still not too phased about dying because he is getting quite a lot out of this lane. We look over to the opposing off lane, and Chelsea, he's having a bit more of a tough time. So, I mean, Darkseer has hit level 2. He's finding a couple of CS here, whereas the Earthshaker is going to have a bit of a more difficult time. We saw it in the previous game where the Sand King got something and...
Look how threatened he is. I mean, Chelsea ran back all the way to the tier 2 just because Frank is not visible on the map. Worried about that courier snipe. I mean, already Frank being a little bit of a nuisance, sending Chelsea back to the tier 2.
Yeah, absolutely. And now C1, if he overextends here, could be in a bit of a pickle. But Frank's still level 1, doesn't have X marks the spot. The Torrents, just off the mark. But they can still potentially do something here. Kunkka does hit pretty hard. They got the Gale down. C1's pretty slow, but the rotations are coming in. And they should...
the fear the deny. Out of nowhere, he gets the denies that. Oh, the fiasco's in the mid lane now. Frank being chased down here from Habibi and Odu. We spoke about this pair previously. Doesn't get caught up by the torrent. Picks up the bounty and charge. Frank is going to pay with his life. Goes down. And wow.
Yeah, eNergy are going to be smiling about this outcome. They got to deny off on a certain kill. Get Frank. This is great for them. Frank's also still level 2. And they're going to be very aware of this. They know that he's not going to get much more. They've done a good job of making sure he doesn't have those sort of successful rotations. But Chelsea, must be careful here. DD on impact.
He's fighting around the jungle here a little bit. RDK all just too happy to farm. Sitting 14 and 10 versus the Garo sitting 12 and 9. So RDK a little bit ahead in the lead. And like we've said, one of the best carries, always managing to get something out of the lane. Charged on the mid lane, Mikasa. He's got a target above his head. If he's not careful, gonna get slapped. Chosen One, not gonna make anything. Under the tier 1, drops the shrapnel. Trying to run away. Can he make it happen? Habibi right-clicking him away. Impact rocks in, trying to help out. There comes the last word, Fatal Bonds. Frank, can he right-click him down? Taking quite a huge amount of damage. He may actually go down here. But so may Habibi. He's actually going to fight through this. Going to go down before the fatal bonds actually take him down before making contact with Frank. And Frank walking away, doing the jig, and
he died while charging, man. that was close. He could have nearly got the kill.
Bonds. It's also something we haven't really spoken about. I mean, Warlock, really difficult to actually lane against that kind of hero. You put so much harassment against any hero that actually goes up against the Warlock.
Yeah, very difficult to deal with that hero, but Frank is still, he found level 2 finally, so he'll be happy about this, but he's in a lot of trouble here. He gets charged down and throws out a torrent, but he will take a tumble there as Habibi will pick that one up for himself on his Spirit Breaker. So again, shutting down Frank pretty well.
So we were discussing it and we were talking about it, and this patch really favors the position 4 player, and Frank, position 4, one of the best at the moment in position 4, really getting shut down from the side of eNergy. Do you think perhaps they've got their number? I mean, I think Frank has been spamming Spirit Breaker constantly, and the fact that Ian basically denied Frank from actually picking up that Spirit Breaker.
I mean, eNergy directly banned out Frank, right? They got rid of the Night Stalker, they got rid of the Coddle. These are heroes that he's just absolutely ridiculous with in the previous tournaments. So by all means, they definitely were focusing on Frank, and they sort of understand his movements. Like I said early on, they played with him just the other day. He was on their team. Now he's moved over to Bravado, so they have a very good idea of what kind of movements he makes and where he could potentially be and how he's going to be a problem to them. So eNergy, I think they're sort of ready to deal with Frank, where other teams might not be. So that's definitely in their advantage.
Well, bot lane, Odu taking a little bit of damage. They turn around. Frank still in a lot of trouble. The curse does come down. Odu may go down as well. Very low HP. Seems like he's going to survive through it. Strike really close by. Throws out the rocket barrage. 2-5 can't get away. Surge not quick enough. And losing our poor Darkseer. But Ian walking with their heads held high. 6-1, 6 minutes in. And so far seems very one-sided.
Yeah, and this Spirit Breaker having that, 17% chance bash, gets it at the perfect timing. You know, just those things, right?
I always debate that 17%. It never works in my favor.
It's like 2% when I'm playing the hero, right? And then
exactly.
80% is like just impossible. But yeah, I mean, Strike, he's going to be happy about his lane, but the Morphling's just farming away, and they're not really looking to put any pressure on RDK. They just know he's going to get what he does. They need to make sure they win their other lanes and sort of pull this game together. But they're doing a great job at this. They're getting multiple kills. They have a small net worth lead early on, but the Morphling is going to slowly become a concern for them. He is going for the Lincoln Sphere first, though, so not really going to have that huge kill potential, but yeah, definitely requires that defensive ability.
Oh, duck your heads. Here it comes. The charge mid lane, Mikasa. C1 is in vicinity. He's going to throw down the shrapnel. Habibi charges under the tier 1. There comes the curse. Impacts around, but the assassinate from a distance gets brought down. And Vino bites the dust once again. 7-1, 7 minutes in. eNergy taking BVD to book.
Yeah, this space cow, or if I can say moon cow, there's a bit of a problem. Shout out to Moon Cow. There we go. But yeah, he's been an absolute nuisance. Habibi has just done a great job. And like we were talking about, POS 4s are pretty strong. Habibi is probably one of the better POS 4s currently. Odu used to be that role, but
individual. It's like between Odu and Habibi together. I mean, they were part of the previous unbeatable BVD until last year. And now they've been matched up again on the same team. This duo pair is absolutely ridiculous. It's like they're in each other's heads.
Yeah, absolutely. They know each other inside out. And it's always going to be a difficulty sort of dealing with these two. And when I first heard that they were together, I'm like, oh, Odu has to play support, right? Like, he was playing core before Habibi joined, and I was like, as soon as Habibi joins...
You know he's going to go back to support. I mean,
he has to. It's just too good to pass by, you know?
Radiant's bottom tower
But Kunkka looking like he wants to try something on the sniper. It's going to be a bit difficult. He does have 2 points up in the X marks, but its range is not really good enough for him to close the gap onto sniper. And C1, Chosen One will just be able to get himself on out.
Well, I mean, considering things are not going too favorable for BVD at the moment, I mean, RDK is still getting a lot of farm, sitting 59 and 25 in terms of last hits, and hasn't been brought into fights just yet. Can the Morphling actually make such a big impact to actually change the team around?
C1 going to find himself a kill. Now they're going to look for Habibi in the mid lane here. They got the X on him. They pull him back, but there's no Torrent to follow it up. And Habibi, he'll walk this off his tank. He's taking a lot of damage. He's got the Shadow Word on as well as the Fatal Bonds, but shouldn't be... Oh, no more Fatal Bonds creep. He gets away. 40 HP,
man. Makes it through. But before that little tussle broke out, I was questioning the impact of the RDK Morphling. Does it have the way to go the full 9 yards to actually devastate the side of eNergy?
Yeah, so that's like largely the argument we had, right? Is Morphling really that good this patch? Is it viable? How much impact is he going to have on the game? I still think it's RDK's Morphling, right? So that's notorious on its own, but it's still a pretty good hero. It's one that once he does get those items online, its fighting ability is huge, as well as the ability to bring down buildings very quickly. So that's something that we'll keep an eye on. And I mean, RDK is having good times. He's got his perseverance up. He's looking towards the Lincolns. He's just topping out his net worth charts quite comfortably.
Well, I mean, you've got RDK sitting top of the charts. Then you've got the Gyro as well as the Sniper sitting second on the log. It's quite a close thing. BB pulling back under the tier 1. Frank now going to be brought down. Easy stacks there for Odu. And Doxia still hanging around 2-5. Can't make a play off the back of this. No other rotations coming in. And eNergy pick up a fairly decent, easy kill.
Yeah, and 9-1. I mean, that scoreline is pretty much telling a tale of its own. They're sort of creating space for RDK, but they're also giving away a lot of gold to the opposing team. So RDK needs to have a great performance here. And I mean, the panel couldn't have said it any better. This is the guy who can do it. He definitely can pull these amazing performances out. And I mean, I'm sure the people in the crowd really want to see him succeed here.
No, absolutely. I mean, he's been an amazing player throughout, and one of those constant, stable core carries that can just make so much happen for the team. The question is you've got the sides of EN that have got 3 of their players sitting at the top of the net worth charts, or all consecutively besides RDK.
Oh, bot lane looking like they want to go on strike here. He'll use the cooldown just to sort of make them think twice about this.
Any more shenanigans coming onto him. So Ian playing really aggressive here, playing around strike quite a bit. They've left Chelsea in the top lane just to probably soak up what he can against RDK. Got no real kill potential against him. Does have Echo Slam, no rotations coming in from him. But in the bot lane, looks like they may want to do something. We do have the Plague Walk being placed down right now. So what are the kind of timings, spark points, aggression points that we can start looking at here for the side of these two teams?
Well, I think once RDK gets his Lincoln Sphere up, he's going to look to be a little bit more active around the map. He's sort of being stagnant in this one lane, making sure he gets the farm, gets it up quickly, and he's being very efficient about it. He's got the tier 1 tower now, so he's pretty close to the Lincolns. Once that's online, that's going to be pretty big. I think one of the biggest spikes is when Impact hits level 6. It's going to be a bit of a concern, as well as the silencers. So both supports have their Impact to be hit, but Frank, he's in trouble.
The charge comes out. Torrent is good. The urn comes down, and that is one dead Frank.
Man.
Not much you could have done about that.
You just underestimate the damage that Arcane Curse does. Level 3 Arcane Curse up on the silencer just absolutely melts through him, followed up by the Rocket Barrage from the Gyrocopter. They just do so much damage. You can't stand still.
No.
Yeah.
And he is a little bit of a low level, so he does take quite a bit of damage. Chelsea deciding to put himself in the jungle. RDK left alone in his safe lane. Not for long. The charge is out. Do they continue? Does Habibi decide to follow through with it? He doesn't. He actually pulls back. So for the moment, RDK is still safe. No rotations coming in from the rest of the EN team, but Mikasa invis and decides better of it and walks away.
Yeah. So something else that we didn't really talk about is Odu and Habibi, right, have played against RDK in a time when RDK was the sort of the next best thing. Like, he was their biggest competition at a time. So they have a very good idea of how to deal with this individual. And I think this is maybe a bit of a concern here for the side of Bravado. These two supports sort of know, okay, we can't really deal with RDK now. Let's win the other lanes, or
stomp
sort of the sort of timings of RDKs. They've dealt with RDK for almost like an entire generation of Dota, if I may use that term.
I mean, it's been almost been a decade of RDK dominating the scene and now being punished and crushing the other lanes. eNergy is doing an unbelievable job at just winning their lanes. That even if it gets to the point where RDK is super farmed, is it enough to actually stop Ian, considering that the other lanes haven't done extremely well? Yeah,
it's one of those things, right? RDK can carry this game through. He's almost got his Lincoln Sphere up now, but everyone's having a tough time. Mikasa's sort of keeping up, but he's about 1.4k behind. It's just a very, very big difference between most of the people here. So I don't know, it seems difficult.
What does RDK go for after he picks up his Lincoln? Do we see the shotgun?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's the sort of best way to deal with sniper. You can jump on the backline shotgun and burst him down very low, if not kill him. And even so, you can sort of throw the shotgun defensively on an individual to stop the sniper from beating up at him. So there's multiple pros to picking that item up.
All right, so he's going to be moving into the shotgun gun build, as we assume. And I mean, we've looked at this game and we said right now, eNergy at the beginning of the year wasn't the strongest team. I mean, I had the opportunity to cast them, and they weren't having the best showing. I'm looking 8 months later, 7 months later, and this team has completely changed. Competing for the top spot in the SA Master scene. Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, how this team has developed. I haven't seen more change in a team this year than what I have with eNergy.
Yeah. That's the thing, right? Because Golem drop, big trouble.
Rock is down. There comes the call down. Rock trying to slap away Chosen One. In the meantime, Frank getting the assassinate. There's also going to take a lot of curse, but gets healed up. There comes out the poison from the Vino. 2-5, trying to find more. RDK running up the hill strike, taking quite a bit of damage. Odu trying to clear out those illusions, but RDK decimates the Karo. They lose Odu. Double kill for RDK, and before you know it, they are on the board. BVD taking the boys to church.
Yeah, and when we talk about spikes and timings, everything came together perfectly there for the side of Bravado. Level 6 was hit by Warlock, Lincoln Sphere came up on RDK, and they said, well, we got our stuff, let's go, guys. And they went into the mid lane, dropped the rock, and the fight looked a bit shaky, but you just underestimate how much damage Veno can really do. So
well, let's take a look at the replay. Let's see how things actually did go down. Oh, mid lane though, there comes the boat wall. It's a little bit of a fight under the shrapnel. Never did too much there. A lot of the illusions just been cleared out. But BB trying to make a play. Yeah, he does change his target. Mikasa going to be brought in. Echo Slam out from Chelsea. Gets himself a double kill. RDK gets the assassinate Lincoln's procs. And the X comes out trying to control out strike. Odu, very low HP. Needs to move himself back. They're going to secure themselves a tier 1 in the mid lane. They lost the Warlock. They lost Mikasa. And poor old 2-5 is down.
Yeah, so, I mean, they turned their fight around very quickly. They realized, okay, we lost a big fight. We lost the tier 1 tower. Turned that around pretty well. It may be a bit shaky of a fight there. Wall was dropped. It didn't really get much out of it. I think ship was also used there, so not a good fight.
No, the ship was used. That wall didn't get too much done either. It was placed on the back lines of that fight, and then all Ian did was reposition, re-engage, and jump in. Chelsea's Blink Echo Slam, decimating the 2 players from the side of BVD without even blinking.
Yeah.
Hurt.
That's the thing. He also found a spike now. We see it again. A spike was found by Chelsea. He said, oh, let's go. We got Blink. And he didn't necessarily need to use it, but it was, they realized, okay, we do have Blink. We can just go into the front lines and try and do something with it. And it's exactly what's happened here. And they turned that fight around. I mean, it looked like Bravado had a good fight, that they were going to maybe follow up and find maybe another objective, maybe get some vision down in the jungle, but it turns around and sort of bites them in the butt.
Well, I mean, that was a big play, and they've got such good initiating heroes. I mean, from the side of BVD, you can throw RDK in there with the waveform, but then you're putting your core in the middle of a team fight. Kunka perhaps can try and engage using the X, but with the side of eNergy, I mean, you've got the blink on the ES, you've got the charge in from the Barra. It just seems like the engagement for the side of EN is just a little bit better, and if they get the jump on BVD, could actually punish them quite a bit.
Yeah, but again, RDK is just sort of, he's choosing his fights wisely right now. He's found himself 2 kills. He's, okay, now I'll go back to farming, and let me stay top of the net worth. And he's comfortably ahead now. He's a 1.1k ahead of everyone. And he's going to have that shotgun up, and some people are going to be shaking in their boots. As soon as they see that blue wave coming through, they're in big trouble.
Regeneration. So do we start looking at eNergy picking up BKBs, maybe Lincolns for themselves? What is EN's response to RDK?
So that's the thing, right? The gyrocopter, BKB is more than likely going to be picked up by him, but sniper, you don't really want to go too early into BKB. Your defensive item is usually going to be your Hurricane Pike. Being forced into a BKB is going to slow down the spikes of the sniper, right? Because he's just not going to be dealing the damage in these team fights, and it sort of puts him in a precarious position. But I think it's super necessary. You're dealing with a Venomancer who does a tremendous amount of magical damage. The Kunka controls you up if you don't have a BKB. So I think it might just be a necessity. I think you hit the nail on the head there.
Well, it's going to be a very interesting game. eNergy 14-4. This was... This BVD team used to be one of the better and stronger teams. eNergy just showing their dominance now in the scene. What are we seeing?
In trouble. Cooldown, though, is going to make them, deter them at least, and Frank will have to get himself an out. So that was a ship Torrent used onto Odu, and he walks that off pretty comfortably. Raindrops, man. Raindrops.
Well, they are strong. What's it dispersed? Like 150 magical damage?
Yeah, 120. So
120.
Yeah, it's really good. I mean, 120 magical damage, it can save you in these situations. He has 1, so he has a bit of stats. So it's a difficult kill, especially for Frank this early on. He needs follow-up at least with his Torrent ship.
All right, so now we've we hit a nice spike point for both teams. I mean, we have Blink up on ES, Lincoln's up onto Morphling. What is our next timing? What are the next objectives? What do these teams need to do? Do we see a smoke? Do we see maybe a little bit of a rush play? Taking a couple of towers? Where do we go from here? Like, what? You are the captain of these teams. What do you say?
I think they're going to wait for shotgun up on RDK. I think they're just going to keep on creating space for him, at least the side of Bravado. On the opposing side, I think Strike, he's going to finish up his Sanjin Yasha, probably want to get that BKB before he has to fight, if he even goes that. I mean, Sanjin Yasha, a great item, but he's not going to be dealing a tremendous amount of damage if he's forced to buy BKB this early on. But I think it's an absolute necessity right now to make sure that he survives. So I think Sniper as well, I don't know if he's going to be going into the BKB because it is sort of risking your potential team fights later on, but it could be a necessity for him too. So they're going to more than likely want to play this very passively eNergy for the next couple of minutes, whereas a space will want to be created for RDK on the opposing side.
It looks like eNergy did want to actually make a little bit of a play. They did actually smoke up. Here comes the counter smoke from a BVD. Does something happen here? Frank running forward. Smoke does get broken out. Pings come out. They know where Odie is. Chelsea drops the Fisher. They're going to catch poor Mr. Frank. There comes out the poison from the Vino. They drop the rock. Silence comes out. Chelsea's going to hit the deck. The rock is chasing him down. They still lose Chelsea. 2-5 is down. They're going to try and kill up Impact. They get him. And now Habibi trying to get himself out of there. Not going to be enough. The shotgun comes out, or the adaptive strike. RDK picking himself up the kill there as well. And Chosen One in the back lines just decimating the side of BVD. But we have a 2-for-3 trade. And wow, what a little bit of an engagement. Both teams trying to do the smoke play. And it just works out a little bit better for good old EN.
Yeah, RDK just picked up his shotgun now though, so he's got the Ethereal Blade. He's going to be doing a tremendous amount of magical damage, and they need to be a bit careful of that one.
Yeah, let's take a look at that replay. Let's see exactly how things did pan out here.
That fissure was so good. They caught out Frank. They knew exactly where it was because the smoke broke. It was very good position by Odu. Obviously, Vacuum can't good pitch on the high ground anymore. Chelsea will take a tumble. And, I mean, 2-5, he's just one of those heroes. Vacuum wall, that's about it, and then you're in trouble. That Sniper just beating away at them. That adaptive strike, though, followed after that Spirit Breaker. They do get that kill. And then that's pretty much all she wrote. But, mid lane,
oh, there comes a shotgun, the boats, and RDK snacks himself up another kill. And good old strike hits the deck.
Yeah, there we go. Shotgun's online, and like I said, now RDK is definitely going to want to be more involved. And this is not good for eNergy. They want to buy themselves a little bit of extra time, but now almost the entire side of Bravado are ready to fight.
It honestly feels like RDK has put the entire team of BVD on his back and says, all right, boys, just create space for me. Let me get my Lincolns. Let me get my shotgun. Once I've got this, then let's start making a move. And this is exactly what's happened. Before you know it, BVD caught up, a couple of kills. RDK has already picked up a couple of kills in one team fight.
I feel like I'm in a time machine right now. This is how they used to play around RDK. This is how they used to dominate the scene. They would just pick him up, a hero like Morphling, mostly Morphling, and just absolutely just create space for him, look like they're having a shaky time, and then all of a sudden people just die to this massive Morphling. Whoop.
In the meantime, missed the kill in the jungle. RDK finds the kill in Odu. Surprising instant shotguns. It is actually going to be ridiculous for us to catch these kind of shenanigans because the players are just going to drop so quickly.
T-Twiz, man. It's going to happen. T-Twiz this game. But TP's coming in. Oh, look at that damage.
Shotgun. Habibi can't follow up. Mikasa forces himself in. Here comes another strike. Can they clear out Mikasa? C1 trying to fight from the back lines. They got the earn up. There comes the assassinate. And goodbye. Good old Mikasa, but now eNergy. The deny comes through. And Chosen One makes it happen, denies the kill, and good old Habibi doesn't give anything away for his death.
Yeah, gets murdered by his teammate, really, but it definitely helps him out. That's a decent chunk of gold. I mean, Veno knew he was dead there, so he threw out as much as he could because he knew that he would get the kill. More than likely, he was aware that it was probably going to be a deny at the end of the day.
Was it worth it then? Was it worth it to actually make that play from Mikasa?
No.
I mean, considering that you can actually deny that. But hold that thought a second. Here comes Strike in a bit of pressure. RDK, they get silenced out. They're going to try and right-click down Strike. And RDK picks himself up another kill. A little bit out of place there. And BVD punishing them for that misplace.
So going back to your point, the Venom was dead. He had the ulti from the sniper on him, so he just ran into the trees to make sure he gets enough magical damage down. So it was pretty much the only thing he could do. The fact that the Spirit Breaker died is still fine, even though it was a deny. The fact that he wasn't able to now sort of be in that fight potentially, or he's not collecting gold around the map.
Welcome back.
Bit of trouble here for Habibi.
Odu, Habibi, a little bit of pressure here. And RDK picks up the kill. There comes out the shotgun. The wave is good. Disarmed. Torrent. X. He's going to be kept in place. And that is going to be a double kill. And both that support pair just played with their life, hitting the deck. Getting caught out of place, I suppose they're returning the favor quite hard.
Man, it's like I have to look at my phone to see what the date is just to make sure, because this is flashback stuff. This is just old school how they used to play with the RDK squad when they were once at eNergy and now they've moved on to Bravado. But this is it's just, it feels so good to see it again. But I mean, Morphling is, I don't know, I think they picked it up because it's a best of one situation. They were aware, okay, we're going into a best of one. Let's just get something that we know we win with, and they got it.
And for us, this is like really a team that we don't see often. BVD hasn't been in the Masters this year because just the way things worked out. And now we're seeing a BVD that can actually be part of this Masters League. And RDK rocking up with the boys and just taking names. I mean, right, they are behind 19 for 11, but still a really scary force to be reckoned with. I mean, we've got RDK running in there, still decimating the side of Ian. Ian may be ahead of in kills, but look where the gold is sitting. It's sitting in favor of BVD.
Yeah, but we must also keep in mind that net worth is just under 1K, and we look at the net worth.
It's also all sitting with RDK as well. I mean, he's the chunk of that net worth.
Yeah, 5-man smoke though. It's technically a 4-man smoke, but it is an RDK illusion, so he can be there in an instant. So 2 Kunkers running here in the front, and Torrent off the mark, but they got the X. There should be a Morphling jumping in here soon. There we go.
Yeah, Odie, he stays alive. He's not dead just yet. Actually doesn't manage to find the waveform, but Odie does go down. The fish is there. Echo Slam is good. Godlike. RDK is down. They're going to try and see if they can find more. The RDK is down, so they're going to try and see what they can do here to the side of BVD. Plague Ward up there. There comes the Vac Wall strike. BB trying to back themselves off here. And no more follow-up. They decide to back off. And no more engagements.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at that RDK kill. I mean, when this guy goes down, you must know that the universe has aligned for energy.
This is a bit of a mistake here. He needed to secure that kill. Now the Silence had a chance to get the global silence off. He can't morph strength. He's going to go down. Echo Sam committed. 787 gold for that kill. That is a tremendous amount of gold being exchanged. And that goes in the pocket of Strike. So net worth, favor of energy now. So
one little misplay and you get caught out. And now the boys may jump into the pit. Looking for a little bit of an objective here on the back of that RDK kill. Frank X's himself up, tries to get the Torrent into Raj. Surprise, surprise, no one is there.
Yeah, I think this is going to be highly contested now. There's not really a good Roshan setup for either side, but if someone does get it, it's pretty nice. I think Morphling can kill Roshan pretty quickly.
I think the best way they take Roshan here is for BVD to actually jump in the pit, and then for Energy to jump in afterwards. I think if it goes the other way around, I think BVD's got the better opportunity to take Rosh and Energy to actually defend Rosh.
Yeah. I definitely feel the same, but you don't want someone sneaking a Rosh underneath your nose.
No.
You don't expect it, right? So Frank will more than likely want to keep an eye on that as soon as people are missing off the map, sort of. But because Sniper's not bad at taking down Rosh, I like the fact he went for Shadowblade. He didn't go for the BKB, so he can sort of escape. If he sees a shotgun flying through there, he can just get that Shadowblade, and they get forced to pop dust. And so it's a bit of a difficult kill here on CC1 currently.
Well, we are now sitting 20 and 12 at the 30-minute mark, and both these teams are going head to head. It is, I mean, have you seen a net worth graph that looks like this after 30 minutes in the game? And less than 2,000 gold in it. Experience looking very similar. I mean, these teams are so equally matched. And in the recent tournaments that we've had in our local scene, Ian has finished, I think, top 3 in both our previous tournaments.
Yeah. That's the thing, right? And now Frank is in Bravado, and there's also roster changes that might impact this. But BVD is definitely a team that I rated quite highly, at least, and coming into this tournament.
But, well, we haven't seen them much, so you don't really know like where they're sitting, where their strengths are, because they haven't been part of of the league per se, and we haven't really been able to actually see them in action.
Yeah.
And now you see them here, and they're standing pretty well up against eNergy. I mean, fantastic. And I mean, yes, we are saying that RDK is just cleaning up the kills, but the fact that the rest of his team is being able to create that space to let RDK farm, do RDK things, it's a testament to the entire team that they are getting done what they need to get done.
But even Mikasa, he's finding his farm slowly but surely. He's actually not in a bad place. He's got the Veil, which is also going to help his entire team do damage. The Kunkka gets a lot out of the Veil, as also... And of course, the Morphling gets a hell of a lot out of the Veil. If you're going to amplify the damage that he's doing magically, because the shotgun, of course, as well as the adaptive strike or magical damage, it's a lot of impact that item is having for his team. But something very important here is that there is now a Manta style up on Morphling. He's going to be a lot more difficult to kill. Use the Global Silence, he's just going to pop the Manta and then more strength, and then try and get himself on out. So the sort of timing to sort of shut down RDK has slipped by. They need to now try and find a different avenue of bringing this game at least into this mid-game stages. Potentially.
So what do you do in a team fight? You basically try and concentrate on the rest of the team, and then once the rest of the team is taken care of, then you turn to RDK, or do you jump into RDK and obliterate RDK and then try and deal with the rest of the team?
I think.
What is Ian's approach to team fights now?
Oh, Odu's in big trouble.
Here comes the poet. Frank's going to try and block him in the trees. There's the shotgun. RDK. Easy kill.
Yeah. Decapitated. C1 though, Invis here as well. They all moving on to Frank. Frank should die. Tries the TP.
The TP.
There was just so many stuns, man. There's no way he was getting out of that one. But he does create the opportunity for the Morphling to get himself an out, so that's fine. I think he'll be happy with that trade, giving a kill over to his Morphling and then meeting his demise to C1. Maybe not the hero you'd like to give the kill to, but it's fine. I think they're just okay with Morphling constantly getting kills, getting farm, and keeping ahead, which he is, by a big distance.
I mean, that's what, 5k in it?
Yeah.
For RDK, I mean, they've just basically created space. RDK gets the items, does what he needs to do, and it's going to be a little bit of a punishment. So, before that fight broke out, I mean, what do we do? How do we see the engagement? What does Ian do going into a team fight?
It's difficult to say, right? No matter what I say, something's going to be wrong. So, I think...
Give me your best shot.
Yeah, I think... You target RDK and he's just going to morph strength. You target the team, RDK is going to destroy your team. I think you've got to sort of pick off individuals, find objectives. I think you try and avoid big team fights currently, or at least avoid RDK. If you see maybe 3 people in the bot lane and you can confirm that it's not an RDK illusion, you go on that and then you try and buy yourself some time, because he's doing a fantastic job, but if they catch him on the opposite side of the map, they can maybe do something, but he's very mobile. Like I say, he's got the replicate as well as bits of travel. It's not an easy situation here for eNergy, but I'm sure they have something up their sleeves. They still got the right heroes for this.
Do you maybe just commit like the Bravado to try and deal with RDK, just try and keep him busy while the rest of the team like starts focusing down the other players? Commit one player to try and just be a pest for RDK.
So the one individual that's going to be a big problem for RDK is going to be Chelsea on this Earthshaker, right? Because you're not going to be building a BKB anytime soon on Morphling. I don't imagine he's actually going for the Satanic currently. He's going to be able to lock down the Morphling for an extended period of time, maybe buying his team a little bit of extra time to clean up the sidelines or secure the kill onto the Morphling. So that is more than likely their options, but 5-man smoke coming at you from Bravado. They're going to look for something as they actually get a D ward, and it's going to be scouted, so they should know there's a smoke. They certainly should know there's a smoke.
Oh, that is going to hurt the side of BVD. Smoking under a ward, never a good sign. And eNergy, they're going to back themselves off. We can already see them making their way around. Chosen One has actually invested up already, just in case they do get a surprise.
Yeah, it's that nope factor there. Nope. Just run away.
Not today, boys. Not today.
Yeah, so, I mean, again, now the Morphling is just going to leave a replicate in a lane. If they want to come and contest for this tower, then they got to deal with that. It's not an easy situation. The best they can do is sort of kind of try and keep these split pushing out, but RDK already going here on the bot lane onto the gyrocopter. He will actually jump himself out to the top lane and go for an objective. Now this gyrocopter's in a tough spot. Does he TP's back to base, probably going to pop the shrine, then fight, but by that time, tier 2's down.
Yeah, and I mean, that player was actually, I liked it just for the fact that RDK goes on to strike. Okay, boys, I'm in trouble. Ian then TP's bot lane. While that's happening, RDK's TP back top and kind of leaves Ian holding their thumbs, doing like, okay, guys, what do I do now?
Wow.
But they didn't get those extra rotations, so it didn't pan out that way. If they did, massive win. Couldn't defend the tier 2 either, but Ian, they were in the vicinity trying to defend the tier 2. Didn't happen. Objectives taken. And one more tier 2 remains in the way of making their way up higher ground.
Yeah, so I found that very peculiar what just happened. I don't know if you saw it. Okay, the ward actually just timed out. But the charge was used to pop the Lincolns while he was out of vision in fog of war. So they definitely knew that there was a ward there. But I think he saw that it was timing out and maybe going to waste a sentry from the supports. Just a little tidbit that I picked up there. So maybe a bit cheeky there from Habibi. I thought it was a misplay, but I think it was a bit of a cheeky play there. They're definitely going to try to sentry that up.
Well, I mean, we've put all our hopes and dreams in the player RDK to do it for his team. He's sitting 23,000 net worth for his team, then closely followed by Sniper and the Gyro. When BVD find the outcome of this game, from what reason, why did BVD get to this point? Is it because they got RDK farmed, got him to the position that RDK has done these things now and in the past?
Bounty!
I think the team, that team has in particular have been together for a very long time. Yeah, they got the newly addition of Frank, but other than that, a lot of them have played together for a very extended period of time under several franchises or MGOs. So I think they know each other very well and they understand each other's play style. And I like the fact that they're sort of reverting back to the way that they used to play when they were second best in the country. I mean, RDK was always just in that second best team. Good enough to be in the best team, but just not there, unfortunately.
Not there. Yeah, I can feel that. I mean, at one point it was BVT, then it was WRG, but now bot lane, O2 just gets obliterated. Not even enough to even talk about that low engagement. And
yeah. I just see RDK hiding in the tree. As soon as I see the X marks the spot, I just imagine the sound of a pump action shotgun at that time, because just you're dead, man. There's no way out of this one. So really good. I mean, it's just such a problem. These supports can't overextend. It's just a very scary situation. And again, there's no BKB up on Sniper. He is going for that next. It's an absolute necessity. But C1's done a great job at keeping himself alive, to be absolutely fair, because RDK, if he sees him, he's going to go straight on him. So the Shadow Blade pickup was something I didn't think of, but it definitely makes a lot of sense.
Well, the boys at BVD, they clear out the pit. Aegis has been picked up. And RDK has it. Is this the moment that the boys go higher ground? And Ian didn't even decide to contest it with those Plague Wards. I mean, something else that we haven't even touched on. The Plague Wards cancel out the blink, not allowing the ES to get in there, drop his nonsense because of those Plague Wards, and kind of gave away a rush pretty freely. Chosen One dropped the shrapnel. They saw that they were in a rush, but decided they can't even contest it.
Yeah, it's just like you say, those wards are an absolute nuisance for this Earthshaker. One of the only pros that they have is Earthshaker is going to be pretty useful at holding up the high ground as well as the Sniper, so he can probably use his blink from a deeper position, because getting the Plague Wards there is going to be difficult. But I mean, RDK's got Satanic and Aegis right now. He is not too afraid to take up the high ground, and I think he might even be looking in that direction.
But well, I mean, Ian has to be prepared every time a team fight happens. They are going to lose one of their players to that shotgun.
Yeah.
I mean, every time they engage, they've got to be prepared to be fighting 4v5.
Yeah.
And now it's actually 4v6 because of the Aegis online, if they do manage to bring down RDK. It is just a little bit of a hard situation here for Ian, but I mean, it's definitely not over. I mean, BVD sitting with a 5k advantage, but we've got Ian sitting with the kill advantage.
Yeah, it's still a difficult high ground siege. They got a lot of wave clear. Sniper can clear up waves very quickly, and then if you want to bring a hero up to the high ground, you got to be willing to take a lot of lockdown, or deal with a lot of lockdown, and then a lot of damage coming through from that. So RDK, yes, he's going to be tanky. He's got a Satanic. He can potentially die once, come back Satanic, and last a long period of time. but it's still a very risky play, and you don't really want to throw a huge amount of gold. I like this play though. X marks RDK, send him to the high ground, shotgun someone to death.
Oh wow, he just obliterated Odu, gets himself out of base, and he's still got the opportunity to replicate up when it comes about. Homing missile being used out and not even making a play there. I mean, RDK he's going to basically be counting how many green bottles on the wall.
Yeah. He's just gonna. I think they're just gonna X marks, and he's just gonna murder people for the next like 10 minutes now. Here we go again.
Well, he got stunned out. He's gonna try and find Mr. Bibi, and he gets X'd out again. He says like, "Just get me out, just get me out, get me out."
Yeah. I mean, okay, they're actually gonna back out now. They say, okay, we've had enough of the shenanigans. We need Odu there because he's the only squishy individual left on their side, but Odu is dead. So I think they're just gonna make sure they got all the lanes pushed in, keep the pressure up. The real question is, how do they take high ground? I suppose I think they need to get a couple of pickoffs and then either force buybacks or take high ground from that point on.
I mean, it's going to get to the point where they try and take high ground. I mean, they've got a lot of really good defense. The side of eNergy, the shrapnel, really good. Fisher, that's always available to them. But here comes the pain of the Morphling. He was busy split pushing bots. But RDK trying to see if he can actually find Mr. Strike. Not going to happen.
This is big. They know the BKB is down now on Strike, and Strike's also got to go back to base. But there's no creep, unfortunately. So, RDK just makes it onto that creep. Sorry, in the bot lane, and they're actually X-marking him to the bot lane. Split push that out. So now they just got to deal with every single lane around the map, which is a bit of a problem for them. So I think this is their plan to take high ground. Keep all the lanes pushed in. Someone needs to defend bot, and then we go and do some chip damage to top.
Well, my question at the beginning of the game was, can RDK make the difference? And he has definitely made a believer out of me.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're going to just keep this chip damage work up here. RDK, he's got so much stats right now. His physical damage is extremely high. He does a lot to buildings. And this is pretty safe play. You just, unless someone gets an eels, that is probably the only thing they can do is secure an eels on maybe Silence or something like that. But Silence is just so far away from anything. He's still trying to get the Glimmer Cape up. So I don't see anyone. Maybe Chelsea can get an eels next, but he's actually going for the Lotus Orb. Might switch to the eels though. Because then you X marks and eels, but you need to pop BKB. But of course, Habibi can pop it globally, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue. And then they can catch up to RDK doing these shenanigans.
Yeah, I mean, it is one way to actually have to deal with the Morphling. Maybe the rod of Atos. Will that X still pull him back if he has been rooted out?
Yes.
So it will still be able to pull him out. So there's got to be a lot of things that actually need to deal with. Need a lot of things that need to get to actually deal with RDK, which is actually going to put a lot of pressure on the supports. They're going to first break the Lincolns. You get the Yules off if they manage to make that happen, and then potentially even commit to Global Silence to make sure that he can't actually replicate out.
Yeah. Well, Aegis timed down. They got a decent amount of chip damage. They got a lot of map control and also secured themselves a very decent net worth lead the side of Bravado. So they'll be happy with that Aegis use. I think the next one, they more than likely will want to try and at least get a Rax or two or potentially close out the game. So eNergy, they need to keep a very wary eye over that pit and make sure that BVD don't come and bite them in the butt.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, RDK building into his Skadi now. I'm going to try and get himself 6 slotted pretty soon, and then probably after that get himself 7 slotted with the Moonshot as well. And surprisingly, not even needed to go with the BKB, considering the amount of stun on the side of eNergy, not feeling threatened at all.
Yeah, again, they're just using Frank. Oh, the Echo Slam whiff bot lane. No, they went onto. Oh, they went onto the Morphling. Oh illusion. Man. No, they didn't go on the illusion. He was there, but he wave formed as the Echo Slam landed, took 0 damage, didn't get locked down, and immediately replicated out. That was so unfortunate.
And the boys from BVD, they say this is it. Echo Slam's down. The defense from the high ground is not available. And the call is to start pushing up the high ground. They don't have the ES ult. They don't have the Global Silence. There's X marks the spot. RDK jumps in, gets X'd out, and going to continue the siege of sieges. Does eNergy have what it takes to stop BVD from coming high ground? One of the better teams in SA trying to defend it. There comes a Fisher, and Habibi caught on the wrong side of that. It's going to be in a little bit of trouble trying to run out. And unfortunately, Chelsea almost killing his own teammate And the Lincolns is down. RDK, the assassinate comes out. Not going to be able to bring him down. And going to just keep BVD out of the base for just a little bit longer. And almost turned into the death of poor Mr. Habibi from that Fisher from Chelsea.
I mean, they did so much damage to the Morphling there, but they just X-marks him, send him to the lane. He uses Satanic in the lane, and he's full HP again. They're just going to go back and do this all over again. I think maybe a bit of a misplay came out there from RDK. He didn't get his shotgun off. He used the Adaptive Strike, I think. But it popped the Habibi on the other side of the fissure, which was a very scary situation for him. It was pure panic at that stage, but he managed to escape.
Right, well, we've got the side of BVT trying to congregate in the mid lane. Maybe the time of EN has come and gone. BVT showing their dominance while RDK slapped their team onto the back and is really putting the side of eNergy under pressure. This game is by no means over, but EN can definitely feel the claws at the door.
Yeah, I mean, RDK is almost 10k ahead right now. It's horrifying. He's going to have the Scotty online now. He's going to have a huge HP pool, including all that agility. Silencer is just going to die every time. The X marks and just send the Morphling after Odu. Odu is just got to hide. He's got to sit inside base right now and just get that ulti off, I feel like it.
Hide because the Reaper is coming.
Yeah, it's a very big concern here for eNergy. Like you say, it's not over yet by any means. The sniper's not far behind. It's one of the heroes that can deal pretty well with these sieges. And one of the biggest positives coming at you for eNergy in these sort of high ground sieges is that not a lot of chip damage is coming onto their buildings. RDK is focusing more on sort of trying to disperse the opponents than deal damage to buildings. And charge onto 225, but hot fingers there, gets himself an out with the blink.
Well, it looks like he actually wanted to come back and throw a couple of jabs. RDK rocks up to the party. And Habibi not taking too much damage there, pops out the pipe. The homing missile going to be popped onto RDK, just discharging out the Lincolns. And oh wow, Ian back on the back foot, just trying to stay in base, keeping themselves out of trouble. And the RDK is just absolutely around the map constantly. BOTs, X marks the spot. And yes, we have been concentrating on RDK, but this is all possible from the rest of the team. Filthy Franks or Franks X marks the spot, just keeping him that mobile. Impact on the point with his rocks. And 225 just being that nuisance. Back wall, Surge, Iron Shell, just you name it, and the side of BVD have it.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. We have been focusing a lot on RDK, but this game, his whole team has been focusing to make sure he has the best possible game because they know this is the guy that can win you tournaments. This is the guy that can Echo Slam on him, those global silence. He's in trouble. He's going to
bring him down. They brought him down. RDK hits the deck and Ian do it. Get caught with their pants down. And now Ian, they have a possibility to get onto the back of this. Mikasa going to TP out. They can't find anything off the back of that. And in the meantime, though, we do have Chelsea trying to stand out 2-5. The boat comes down, landing on Strike and Chelsea. And is it going to be enough? The roaming missile is going to be there. Chelsea gets this, the totem off. Going to try and work on 2-5. Iron Shell. Chelsea doesn't want to take too much damage. And the rock gets dropped for 2. Wall, fatal bonds, and the golem is just trying to head away. Cooldown has been brought out. 2-5 is down. Could this be it? Impact gets brought down as well. They do have buyback on 2 of the players here from the side of BVD. Do they decide to actually use it? And if not, maybe force out a couple of the buybacks for the side of BVT. Ian may just have broken the back of BVT. Do they jump into the pit? Do they push up mid lane? What do they do from this point on?
Yeah, this could be a very big turning point. Roshan up now, eNergy. They're going to pick this one up for themselves, and they'll be very happy with this outcome. Finding Vegas probably going to put on C1, and they can siege high ground far better than how Bravado have been attempting to. I mean, they could have done a lot more chip damage, but RDK has been focusing on trying to disperse the opponents. Sniper's just going to stand on the back line and just beat up at your building, so they need to be careful now. Aegis is online, and it will be on Chosen One for sure. Yeah, and it is.
Well, they're going to give cheese to Strike, so let the siege begin. They actually choose not to actually engage. RDK is up, so maybe a little bit more of the defense and then find another pick off potentially and then make a play from there on out.
Yeah, I think they're just going to try and buy themselves some of the map back, apologies, with this one. So they realize, okay, we got Aegis now, they're not going to have Aegis, they're high ground, they know that we can kill them. The Earthshaker with the global silence can kill this Morphling. And I think the side of Bravado are going to be a little bit more careful, at least with their next upcoming movements.
Well, RDK is going to hold on to his Manta more now, because he's going to need that to break that silence to get out of there. So I don't think those illusions spamming into the base is actually going to be...
He also got permastun there though, so he doesn't have BKB or anything like that, and he actually queued up a BKB. So he's going to have the 7th item as a BKB. I like this a lot. I think he's obviously just going to backpack his Satanic and then use the BKB and then switch them out mid-fight. That's the idea. It seems difficult to do, but if anyone can do it, this is the guy.
Well, I mean, we were looking at it, and I spoke about it. I said RDK hasn't even feel threatened enough to buy the BKB. Well, now Ian has said, we are going to punish you for not actually picking up a BKB. Forces RDK to go back and pick up that BKB. Although he has got enough gold, a buyback is available. So he's going to be picking that up pretty shortly. And then once that happens, it's another thing. What do eNergy do? You've got the Lincolns to stop it. You've got the Satanic. You've got the BKB. They don't have much in terms of right-click. Strike has to get really close. Sniper can sit from afar, but his damage that he's outputting isn't the most. Okay, I lie. He's got Mullion as well as the Silver's Edge, trying to get himself towards that MKB as well. So as long as Chosen One can stand from afar and get those right-clicks off, maybe, just maybe, they can bring down RDK. But when he shotguns, he's going to receive no right-clicks.
Yeah. But another thing, Striker's reasonably farmed. He's also got cheese. He's got the butterfly, so he's dealing a tremendous amount of damage in these fights. He's very sustainable with the Satanic, so he's not under threat of sort of the Morphling jumping on him, shotgunning him down very quickly. So they can sort of deal with what RDK is bringing to them. They also, like you said, they're going to have that MKB up very soon to deal with the butterfly that he might have been going, but he's not going in that direction. So they thought maybe he will go butterfly and interchange that out with the Satanic, but the BKB is definitely the right item here for Morphling, and it's complete, in fact. So, man, RDK has even got buyback. He's got 7 items and buyback. He's now looking for that Moonshard. He is...
Right, so he said 7 items. It looks like he's going for the 8 item build.
Yeah, 8 items. New Dota, man, you can have 10 items. You can backpack 3 and have the Moonshard. This game can go on forever, really. But Xbox is going to be used again. But mid lane, they're going to look to do a bit of sieging with this Aegis. Strike, he knows he's pretty tanky. He's not too concerned about anyone bursting him down very quickly. So he's more than happy to stand on the front lines here.
They're going to give tier 2 pretty freely to eNergy. They're not going to want to contest that. They want to rather prepare for the high ground siege. It looks like the tables have turned, and eNergy is the one that's going to be putting a little bit. Strike that. It looks like they may actually be pushing out the bot lane. 2-5, trying to force back the side of eNergy. They're not going to actually find an engagement the way that they're actually moving back to the lane. So BVD just trying to control out the side of eNergy and not give them too much space on the map. And they forced them back, and easy mid, or no defense mid needed.
I could have sworn I heard you say strike that.
I did. I felt like a military commander, like cover that, roger that.
No, I'm talking about strike like you like read his name. Strike that. I'm like puns again. You know, can't go a day without a pun. But
can't.
Yeah, I mean, this is actually a bit concerning maybe for BVD. They had such a good opportunity to potentially take high ground. They didn't really get much out of it. And now all of a sudden, eNergy are finding their footing. They looked a bit drunk, if I could, and they were wobbling around a bit. Now they've found their footing, and they're just charging down these lanes. They feel a little bit more confident. They got the pipe, so they know they're not going to take that much magical damage anymore. They've had the pipe for a while, but now they have it with all these tanky items on the gyrocopter, which include the butterfly as well as the Satanic and the BKB. His BKB's down to 9 seconds, so he has only used it once in the mid tower defense. So they're all right with that. They're going to deal with the lanes being pushed out. They've found objectives for themselves, and they've closed this net worth gap quite substantially.
Actually, quite a bit. I mean, 55 minutes in, and you're looking at almost less than a 3K advantage.
Yeah,
that is nothing. That is like anyone's game at this point in time. I feel if they can deal with RDK, then Ian take the fight. If RDK doesn't get brought down, then it's pretty much BVD's game.
Yeah, it's, again, the side of Bravado put all the eggs in one basket, right? And they really just want RDK to close this game out for them, because their other cores, I mean, Darkseid, he scales fine, his ulti scales well, but other than that, he's not really going to have that significant of an impact. He's really just a utility hero. At the same time, so is Veno. He's just utilized for his utility in these team fights. So they heavily reliant on RDK to pull through. Whereas on the other hand, eNergy, they got a sniper as well as a gyrocopter who deal a tremendous amount of damage and a sustainable lockdown, or reliable lockdown, if I may, from Earthshaker. So they definitely should be a bit concerned about this if you're in Bravado's shoes. Yes, they still have a lead, but this lead is slowly closing for them, so they need to make the right decisions here, keep a good eye on the next Roshan pit, because they can't afford to lose that one.
Well, it's going to get really tough. It looks like eNergy, they've got small ways to actually deal with RDK, and it's going to be really difficult to see the next fight. I think it's going to come down to the next fight. Looking at buyback statuses at the moment, we've pretty much got buyback on everyone except for Mr. Odu Habibi, as well as impact on the Warlock. So I think maybe they're just waiting for those buybacks to come off cooldown, or at least have enough gold to actually get those buybacks, and potentially wait for Rosh to respawn. And from there, we will see which team will make it in to the upper brackets or to the lower bracket finals.
Yeah. Impact is poor. This is the first time I realized how poor he actually is. Only 4K on him. It's like it's like he's standing and just like take my power, or even just take my gold, Morphling. Just close this game, please. Get me out of this.
If I could, I would share gold with you. Do you remember the mechanic in Dota 1 where you could actually share gold? Like, listen, let's give all this guy gold so he can buy Divine and just kill everyone. But hold that thought. X marks the spot in the bot lane. The charge comes in and going to just hit out the creep, and Strike being able to survive that onslaught. Didn't actually bait out the BKB, and the shenanigans start once again. The X marks the spot on the Morphling.
Scary stuff though, because he did use his mans on the high ground there. If there was Eels plus Global Silence, that was a dead Morphling, but fortunately for him, no one has Eels yet on the side of eNergy, so still surprised by that. They have nothing to really deal with that X marks the spot shenanigans that we spoke about. And I don't think anyone is even looking in that direction yet. So I found that peculiar. I definitely want to ask them if there's a reason why they don't go for Eels here. But
now. Your Admiral is on
I suppose they're concerned about, okay, Eels, there's Lincolns, and we might waste it on that, but you shouldn't. I mean, you can just use charge to pop Lincolns. I don't know. Back. It seems odd to me that they don't go for Lincolns. I mean, Eels, sorry.
Yeah, it is surprising, because I mean it feels like they need to actually deal with RDK. I feel that if they take care of RDK, the game is pretty much in the bag. I don't see the rest of the team being able to close out what eNergy is bringing to the table, and it's all going to sit in the hands of RDK. And we're painting a very big picture that RDK needs to put it through for his team. So, like, if you're listening, no pressure, RDK, no pressure.
Yeah, he's got the world on his shoulders here, but. I mean, right now, I mean, we're looking at RDK's farm. Strike 6 slotted right now, and he's looking for Bloodthorn next, so he's going to more than likely replace that with his Sanjin Yasha, I assume.
No, he'll probably keep it. BKB uses, and then he'll probably
yeah. Sorry, you're right.
I think that's the
switch out the BKB. Yeah, definitely. He's actually been pretty good.
Could this be a Divine play? Could this be a Divine play for Strike?
Oh man, Sargon will be happy. He wants that stat, dude. Sargon wants that stat. We got to bring it to him.
Sargon, if you're listening, tell him to buy Divines. But in the top lane, Global Years, could they bring down RDK? They do. Chosen one, they clean out RDK. That is massive. Now what do the side of eNergy do? Do they push? Do they find the mid lane? Do they secure themselves that upper bracket finals position? And that may have just sent BVD into the lower brackets. And the call was almost to go into pit. They may change it. They may go pushing out the lane. And there, once again, the panel said it. RDK, one of the better players, one of the best players in South Africa. But just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Let's look at the demise of RDK.
Yeah, so TP out from Strike. Good camera work.
Yeah, we
there we go.
There we go.
There we go. Global silence. But here's a big problem. His BKB was in his backpack there. That cost him so big. I don't think he necessarily needs to have the Satanic in the slot. He should have switched out for the BKB. In fact, he switched out his Lincolns for the BKB, making sure he has it on there.
Oh! The back comes out. The rock is dropped. Strike in a little bit of trouble. Gets lost up. There's the ship, lands on a chosen one. TP's himself out of there by the skin of his teeth. I don't know how he did it. RDK trying to find Strike. Strike very low HP. There comes out the Glimmer Cape. And Strike going to be kept alive by Odu. He's going to sacrifice his life. Strike going to find the TP out. Can he do it in time? There's the surge. And RDK doesn't get the kill. And he makes it out. I mean, eNergy made the best of a really bad situation there.
Yeah. That's a buyback on Morphling, man. That's big. Let's take a look at that once again. I mean, they were looking for the siege. Buyback comes through, I think, about now after the vacuum. Yeah, buybacks instantly. TP's onto the creep. Really good vacuum wall, though. Looked very good for them. Ship comes through, but Sniper just stands in the middle of this chaos and TP's himself on out. Strike gets away with barely anything in hand. RDK tries what he must to just chase them down on the back lines. They do manage to find the kill onto Odu, and that's it. Strike TP's himself on out. Man, they found Odu and a BB in exchange, but a buyback on the Morphling. Knowing that his buyback's down, that's a bit of a concern. But RDK is going to say, oh, there's a Roche with golden arms. I'm going straight into that pit. And I'm going to get down for myself.
They need to make up for the buyback on RDK. That's going to probably postpone the game just a little bit longer if they don't get the Aegis. And this time around, the BKB is in his inventory slot and not make that mistake once again.
Yeah, he needs to have it. I'm sure he must be sort of slapped his forehead there.
Is it like, oh, dope.
Yeah, come on.
That happened.
Like, especially in a situation like this, he doesn't commonly make mistakes like this, but
he's like the sentry. You know, like you have your battle encampment and you have these like big statues outside your camp, and those are the statues that are supposed to fortify you against the evil. That is the RDK. But Habibi jumping into the pit, and RDK trying to find a kill here. He does get the Lotus Orb up onto Chelsea. One cooldown is being used. BKBs across the board. The fish are going to try and slow down the side of BKB. Echo Slam comes in from Chelsea, but so does the poison from Mikasa, and it's causing a little bit of a problem. Habibi bites the dust. Sniper is down. Buyback on Strike, and Chelsea trying to get himself out of there. And this poison from the Vino is just... that's the Lotus! Oh, beautiful dodge from RDK, but he still does take the strike, the stun. Excuse me. There's the Xbox spot. He has actually been glimmered out. Can he actually get out of here? If he gets out of here, I'm done. I'm done.
No? Okay.
I'm done.
Okay.
Oh, he gets put down from the iron shell.
Oh,
wow,
man.
that would have been another evasive play. The TP out. X marks the spot. It's done.
Tower is under attack.
Wow, let's take a look at that again, if possible. Here we go.
Yeah, so uses the BKB very preemptively, does RDK, knowing that he could have got Global Silence, which he did, in fact. The Global Silence did come through, but he bit on that Satanic and just beat away Strikes. Just panicked there. He's just in huge trouble. They turn around, they bring down the Sniper very quickly. The Echo Slam came through, but it just wasn't enough. Buyback was forced out by the Gyrocopter, something we even needed to touch on there. But, yeah.
Whoa. Let's go back to the main game as Strike has been loaded, orbed up. He may actually go down. Yeah, that could be a dieback. He does BKB up. There comes the Fisher, fighting under the shrapnel. The Rock is trying to get some work done, but Strike manages to Satanic himself up, and he's good to go. And they can't push up higher ground. We've got a net worth of 40,000K or 40K on RDK.
Yeah, two tier 3 towers now down, and they'll be pretty happy with that outcome.
This has surprisingly turned out to be a really, really close game.
65 minutes into this game. It's obscene. I mean, there was a time where
do we need an age restriction on this game?
Why? Because of all the murder.
The violence, the blood, the gore, the passion, the intensity.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing, right? This game is just...
Go for me.
It's chaos. It's absolute chaos. The one team's relying on one guy to win. The other team is playing their hearts out here. It looked like... I could have said like eNergy had no chance at a stage, but they pulled this back together very well. They had a good early stage, but mid-game I thought it was over, and they're doing well.
I mean, the early parts of the game, okay, well, they were doing really well. RDK was not being involved in team fights. Then before you know it, RDK rocks up to the party and you're like, oh gosh, RDK's here, now what do we do?
Yeah.
And now it seems like Ian's crawled back and taking a lot more control of this game. And it seems that they keep on punishing RDK when he's out of position. Like when a full team fight actually erupts and RDK is not caught out of position, team fights go really, really well for the side of BVD.
Yeah, 4-man smoke here for eNergy, though. They're going to see if they can find something. And then RDK's teeping in here. This could be something.
Oh, this could be massive. There comes the echo stun. Call down. Could this be a dead RDK? Silence being used out. And RDK is dead.
Oh, man.
Barback is not available. Could this be the opportunity that Ian needed, the TP in, walking up the top lane, the boat comes in, and now the boat has been used, trying to slow down the side of eNergy. Could this be the fight that broke the camel's back? Let's take a look at that fight as he TP'd in.
Oh man, they just knew it. They smoked up, they waited for him, Echo Slam, instantly lock him down. He's morphing his strength here, in fact. So he actually managed to get that off just in time, but it was just too little too late. And he got absolutely destroyed. No buyback, 70 seconds, high ground's under siege.
Glyph has now been used out. While that's happening, they're trying to cut the wave. And it's not going to happen. Ian putting a lot of pressure onto this tier 3. The side of BVD can't do anything. They're going to lose the dogs here. They're going to turn their attentions onto Frank. He gets glimmered out, and this could be the first lane of racks being punched down. Dogs here brought back into the game, but the rock has been dropped into boat. There comes out the poison. Shivers has been used out. Odu trying to right click. The silence, the Lotus all being used out. Chelsea obliterates. Impact, unbelievably massive right click down there. Triple kill coming out from Mikasa. The poison just too strong. And the boys from BVD seem to have defended as they have lost their cause from the side of Ian, and only Chelsea and Spirit Breaker surviving that.
I have goosebumps this whole weekend, I think, because this is crazy. I really thought they were at least going to get racks there, but great defense. Mikasa just showing up and saying, hey, listen, guys, I do damage. I'm pretty relevant, and absolutely crushes them. They're getting 2 lanes of racks.
Barback not available for the side of eNergy. They've taken down the mid lane of racks. They turn in their attentions to the top. The boat comes out. They've turned attentions to Chelsea. Can he make it through? Then now RDK rocks up. He throws down the adaptive strike as well as the shotgun. They leave in the lanes. And eNergy, they call it GG. BVD from nowhere. We haven't seen them for the year, and they come out to obliterate eNergy. RDK, the best player to have never mattered, to have mattered this game.
Oh man, RDK played out of his mind. His team did a great job at creating space for him. A slugfest this game was. 68 minutes on the clock. It looked like it was going one way. It looked like it goes the other way. Oh, man.
Poke me with a fork. I'm done. I don't know what to say about that game. And, well, from ourselves, Java and Scorpy, best game we've seen thus far. Most interesting. Handing it over to the boys on stage. Gareth, take it away.
Thanks a lot, guys. Wow, El Clasico living up to its name with Bravado managing to take down eNergy in an absolute bloodbath. The RDK Morphling doing the damage in the end, but let's see what the panel has to say. Over to our experts now.
Well, that looked like the kind of game we see usually in a grand final. Damn, they didn't leave a single bit of ground, and good old RDK pulls through in the end.
Like, when you guys said, oh no, it's going to be a carry Venno's game, I'm like, no, not happening. That's a mid Venno because I know RDK.
And you could see him smiling in that booth.
Yeah, he's really excited. This was Morphling Dota, honestly. Yeah. There was a stage in the game where eNergy was winning super hard, but then you can't do anything because the way Bravado have played for the longest time, even when they were under the eNergy brand, that's pure 4 Protect 1, or specifically 4 Protect RDK. And he came through. There was a point in the game, I think their team was 5k behind on gold, but RDK was still topping the net worth charts, and that just kept going, and eventually Morphling's the biggest hero on the map, and keeps split pushing, keeps pushing out the lanes. And even after they killed him, right? And I thought, all right, this is it. They've definitely been able to beat it. The last partial play that we saw, after eNergy got the kill on RDK, they decided to five-man push onto the top lane. But you could see from the way they were positioning that they thought they'd won the game by killing RDK. They'd forgotten about the rest of the initiation. They forgot about the
Darkseer having buyback.
That Darkseer buyback and the super combo with Fatal Bonds into Fatal Ultimate with the Warlock drop. It's like, what are you supposed to do?
Other than RDK, I mean, we watched Chelsea. He literally did everything right. Everything. As an Earthshaker, you should be doing this. You should be doing that. He did literally everything right and still lost.
Yeah. Morphling, man. Morphling.
Come on, Succubus, you know Chelsea personally.
No, Chelsea for me, I mean, what a player. I mean, that guy. But it was more, for me, what was most exciting was seeing the old duo of Habibi and Odu together, because early game, you just saw that classic combo of those two working together, and I thought, well, this game's over. But on the other side, like Snare mentioned, when you look at RDK, yes, they killed and maybe delayed his items by like 2 minutes, but he had more farm than the carrier that was doing well at 15 minutes, which is insane. Which is absolutely insane. But Chelsea, for me, he couldn't have played that Earthshaker any better than he did. He was always there at the right time, always casting his combos, but unfortunately, when it mattered, there was just too much HP. And then, of course, you have the Fatal Bonds with Veno Ulti, Darkseer Vacuum Wall. It's just too much damage to overcome. And once those BKBs are on a 5-second cooldown, it really doesn't matter anymore.
And I think the amazing thing that Chelsea kept doing, there was a stage in the game where Bravado was trying to push high ground, so they'd send in the Morphling with the X marks the spot, and he'd know that Morphling would be coming into the game, into his base, but then he'd always lay down a fissure to make sure at least the rest of the pre-VD can't come up. So he probably delayed the game for like 10 minutes, I think, longer than they probably deserved to at that point in the game, given how strong the Morphling was. And he did so many perfect things. Every kill on RDK was preceded usually by an Echo Slam. There's only one kill that we saw that he died during the Global Silence, but every other time they needed Chelsea to kill RDK.
And they had to commit so much to kill him that they didn't have anything left for the rest of the team. And that's the biggest problem.
So, if you were sitting on the side of EN, what would you have done differently? I mean, you knew RDK Morphling was on its way. What would you have done differently?
I was speaking to one of the players, actually. I was like, now what?
What are you going to do?
What do you do? Because, you can't... We saw what happens when they try and make the push. Sure, you can succeed, right? But it's still super hard to push into Venomancer, Warlock, Darkseer. This is not an easy lineup to push into, right?
Kunkka.
Even if you can take out this Morphling.
There's Kunkka as well.
And there's a Kunkka, which doesn't make things any easier for you. So there's so much that you have to try and get past to get through. But then,
Fatal Bonds.
Fatal Bonds did so much work.
Bonds did so much work each and every single fight.
But
That's impact.
That draft is specifically designed to, if you're going to pick on our carry, we can still hold high ground against you. Come at us, bro. We're good. It's just the draft. They just did it so well, and they executed it perfectly, absolutely perfectly.
I think if they exploited the fact that to win the game, eNergy kind of needed to be 5. They didn't necessarily have heroes who were very good at split pushing, by themselves, and that could do it safely. So in order to get anything done, they had to be 5, but that opens up space for Morphling to outpush you. So it was just strategy-wise, I think Bravado are outstrategied eNergy at this point.
And even if the Morphling died, they still had ample high ground defense. With every hero.
I think the only way they win this game is if they had a different carry hero. Now that looking back on it now, perhaps Anti-Mage would have been better than Sniper.
Much better.
At the end of the day, you just need something to be able to do something else while the rest of your team is holding the center. Maybe you could have even you could have moved the gyro. Or Anti-Mage mid actually wouldn't have been the worst thing in the world, given that you're going up against Venomancer, you get the spell shield, you're like whatever, but just doing something differently. I think at the very end of it, we saw it was a drafting mismatch that let them down at the very end.
What was the importance of the Morphling buybacks? I mean, we saw one at 61 minutes, which we thought may have been an issue because he came back in to win a fight and he only walked away with Odu. Odu playing so beautifully, he decides, you know what, my gyrocopter was on 100 HP, I'm full, but I've got my Glimmer Cape.
The problem with that is that even though the Morphling didn't have buyback, we still had buybacks on all the supports, including Darkseer, and like we said before, they had ample high ground defense. And the most significant thing is that if the gyro died, he didn't have buyback. And I think only one person on the side of eNergy at that point had buyback, and not a significant hero. So if it was a make or break time, we killed RDK, let's try go high ground, but then they're forgetting the fact they didn't have any buybacks on the main heroes. So maybe, yes, you killed RDK without buyback, fine, fair enough, but rather wait till we all have buyback, then try push the high ground. I think that, yes, the game will get prolonged by another 20 minutes, but then secure yourself that win, at least.
There was something interesting about how they were playing on the side of eNergy because they gave all their farm over to RDK for the majority of the game, but then he got to a point where after he died, buys back, and then the important thing is letting the rest of your team get money as well, so that when you die and you can't buy back, it's fine. Everyone else now has the goal to be able to fight without you.
Yeah, certainly. Well, they have some words of their own sitting there in the back. We're waiting for that interview from Gareth.
Thanks very much, panel. I'm here with the filthy one, Mr. Frank, who was Best Supporting Actor in what is known as the RDK show, Unleashing That Morphling. I suppose when you're in these best of ones and it comes down to perhaps using a pocket strat, what better one to go to than the infamous RDK Morphling?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a strategy we've been practicing, but I think like early on the game was like a little bit rough. I think like Spirit Breaker like played really well as well. Like wherever I was rotating, it's like very rough start, so pretty much just turtled up and relied on RDK, like getting lots of farm. Like both, like mid was like average, but he did get ganked a few times. But like safe lane was always doing well. Like Spirit Breaker wasn't really rotating early onto him, so we sort of just like thought we can just like sit back, let him like split push with the X.
So tell me when they managed to get that smoke kind of like trap. I suppose it was on the Morphling when he TP'd in. It seemed everyone in the team was ready to pounce on that, buyback down. What was going through your mind there? That must have felt like Game of Thrones at that stage.
Not really. Like, I mean, between us four, we have like quite a bit of good team fight, and we all had buyback at that point. So even if like I know like 2-5 died immediately as he went in for like the vacuum wall, but we still had like backup. So I mean, they got to go through like effectively 8 of us, and I also had like the boat, so it takes like a lot. Like it's like basically like a lot of space creation until you can come back. So like we were like a bit like phased about it, but I mean like overall I think we knew we could defend it.
I suppose at the end of the game it comes down to one of those big team fights, and you certainly had that defending your top racks. Congratulations, first blood in the kind of battle between BVD and eNergy goes to you guys. Obviously well done moving forward into the winners bracket, and best of luck as we go forward. Throwing back now to the panel to take us through into our next match.
Thanks, Gareth. Well, some wise words there from some very wise players. Do you feel he's entirely accurate on what he was postulating?
Of course.
Yeah, he was.
You don't have any argument.
No, the only argument.
Obviously, it's Filthy Frank we're talking about. He is without a doubt one of the best. But
the only argument I would have had with what he said is that like he did mention how the Spirit Breaker rotated a lot and did a lot in the early game, kept focusing him, right? I kind of think it might have maybe been better if they'd spent more time, especially in the very early game, focusing on RDK, because sure, it's unlikely you would have been able to get those kills in the very early game, right? But then you force the Morphling back, because it's at a stage of the game where Morphling can't survive fights, but also can't like contest the lane by himself. So that's the only thing that I could disagree with, but otherwise he said everything.
Now, instead of having your shotgun Lincolns at 20 minutes, you would have it at 25 or 30, which would have made a big difference. It would have.
It certainly wouldn't have shut down all their map control quite so soon. But let's talk about how this result, what it means for the rest of the tournament. That means a good old RDK finds himself on the winning side for a change. And
well, maybe Bravado's MGO to do it for him. That's the thing. He's finally found the right home.
Maybe he's found himself the right home, and this could be the moment we finally see him take a crown. What's the other teams thinking?
The other teams
Insta-ban Morphling?
I don't think so. I think like all the other teams that watch this, right, they probably looked at this and said, this is literally textbook Bravado. If you could distill Bravado into a single strat, this is what would come out. So I'm not entirely sure everyone else is going to be really surprised about what they saw here. They're going to be like, well, Bravado won with a Morphling on RDK. Now, you don't have to ban it every game, but now it's in your mind now. Be aware that you're going to have to counter RDK Morphling. Because clearly, if you look at the draft, like, Ian didn't have any real answer for it. And it's a fifth pick, you're like, oh, snap, we fell into the Morphling trap. So I think it's just like other teams are going to be more aware of the trap in the future and then just try to avoid it.
No, definitely, but then he's just going to pick an anti-mage or a Luna and do the same. You know, it's his play style. But yeah, I definitely think in future people do need to contest him a bit more. Yes, he will find his farm, but it will delay his farm. So instead of committing heroes there, then commit a hero there, and then it forces Bravado to play in a certain way which they didn't intend to do. Yeah. So it does put everyone on the back foot. So definitely try contest him a little bit. I mean, the Venom's, yes, Venom's going to get his levels mid, but he's not as impactful as a Morphling is. Yes, for high ground team fights, he does a massive amount of damage, but I mean, you saw what the RDK show did.
Well, heavy words indeed. Do stay tuned. We will be right back with some more action very shortly. We know it's been a long game, so go to the bathroom, grab some popcorn, and maybe get in an Uber or a car and join us here at the CTICC. It is one hell of an experience. The atmosphere is absolutely palpable. It's not worth missing. I guarantee you that. Right, so without any further ado, off you go, and we'll be right back.